First of all, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to Television N1. And I suppose you're already tired of hearing the questions, why do you sound so much like Led Zeppelin? Are you tired?
Yeah, that's a boring one. We can skip that one.
Is it normal? Is it in human nature to try to compare a new rock band with something they've heard before?
I suppose that, that it is a direct human sense of compatibility, that there's sort of a human element to taking two things and sort of comprehending what one or the other is based on the knowledge that you already possess. But I think as far as our influences in terms of being compared to a band like Led Zeppelin and bands of that era and generation, I think we'll always be humbled with references and honored by the affiliation. So yeah, some of the greatest bands of all time in terms of our beliefs, and what we grew up with. So yeah.
You certainly have the look of a band from the 60s or the 70s.
I got this down the street here, actually, today. So,
I have a question. What was it like when you started playing and you sound like you've played from, that was the comment by Slash, I think. You sound so good because you've been playing together for so long. How was that development? When did you decide, this is the music we want to do?
I think that's sort of very early. I think we all sort of, when we were very, very young, our father sort of had a lot of blues laying around, so we all kind of fundamentally raised on blues music and R&B and early American folk music like Woody Guthrie and Denver and Dylan and a lot of those people. So I think, the initial place where music came from was very early on in our upbringing, and I think, it was always, a very creatively accepting, environment in our household, where it wasn't just music either, it was film and literature, things of that sort. But I think, we started playing at a very young age. So I think that really does, over a period of time, have something to do with our ability to understand how one another think, artistically, musically, especially. And I suppose we have been doing it a really long time, so I certainly think that has something to do with it. Yeah.
Do you have a feeling, being a rock and roll band in 2019, in the age of DJs and electronic music, is that something that is kind of odd to people? I mean, you exploded with the Grammys and with everything, and how do you redefine rock and roll music?
I think a question that used to really trouble me when people used to ask, I remember back when we started the band, people would ask, do you feel like you should have been alive in the 60s? Do you think that you should have been growing up in the 50s and enjoying that kind of music and that kind of culture? For a long time, and I thought, yeah, I really wish I did. But just recently, I suppose when we started touring and started seeing the world, I realized this is right where we need to be. And I think this is the moment that rock and roll is redefined into something that time will remember. And as our humble opinions go, I think, speaking for myself perhaps, the DJ music and the electronic music will be found very easy to be forgotten in the grand scheme of time.
Why?
I think it's because it's something that's not necessarily truthful. It's not something that has an intention of love or life or meaning. And as entertaining as it can be to listen to and dance to, I don't think it will be something that necessarily time chooses to remember necessarily fondly.
I think it's a form of expression, and in certain terms of life or emotion that's sort of created from that has sort of a lifespan. But I think it's very interesting now what's going on is because, like what Sam was saying, it's sort of what rock and roll, and I suppose any genre of music, is sort of cyclical in terms of history and the way that things evolve or repeat. And I think right now it's interesting because we have a new generation sort of interpreting what rock and roll is to them and sort of adapting, what's been left behind, I suppose, from past generations.
The interesting thing is, we had Cure on this festival a couple of days ago, and it's kind of a generation thing. There are people that actually just like Cure, and there are people that listen to rock and roll and they don't like it. Do you think that's maybe the case why people like adapted to your music so easily.
Yeah, and I think that's the beautiful thing about music is that you have all these different age groups coming together and, you know, all enjoying this one singular music. And to me, I think that's probably the most exciting thing about touring is seeing the young kids up front. And then as you go back, you kind of see the older crowds. And it can, even if you're going to a Greta Van Fleet show, it could possibly go on with your whole family, which I think is a really fabulous thing. That's what music is about bringing all those people together.
Why Greta Van Fleet? What's behind the name? Why did you decide to call yourself like that?
That was actually an elder woman from our hometown. That was the name had come up from a previous member, and we were like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know, like it has some sort of roots. But I suppose it works out in the end because we get to take a piece of our home with us around the world everywhere we go. So.
Because here we are in Serbia, and our band name for the first time ever. And our band name hasn't changed. Just bring a little piece of Frankenmuth to Serbia.
The thing is, when you grew up in a small town and you start playing the music, when you go out, you actually know all the people that are there to listen to you. What was that first experience for you? Was it more intense than going out to the Grammys?
I think that's a very interesting question because you're right. We would go to the local hall and we knew everybody in the audience. But I think it actually made it less nerve-wracking because it kind of, you know that all these people are your supporters.
Is that a beauty of a small town, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like an extended kind of family. So there's a little bit more comfort in that. That is a very interesting question.
I'm a small town girl, so I know.
Yeah.
And when you're touring now, how is it when you go out? You know, it's going to be at least 50,000 people tonight here. When your audience expanded, how was it the first time when you come to some foreign country you have never heard about, and you go, oh my God, these people know who we are. They know our music. They sing with us. They want us back on the stage. What was it? What's the feeling?
Yeah, I think it's a very overwhelming feeling, but something that, you know, is very humbling to us because we never expected that moving around, you know, the world, in the globe, that we'd have such a global reaction to what we're doing. So it surprises us every time we're in a new location and people come out and they're singing our music word for word or whatever it is. It's very overwhelming.
Yeah, and it kind of goes to show, I think, music is that universal language.
And what's your next move? Where are you going? What are you doing? Is there a new album maybe coming soon?
All of that.
All of it.
All right.
Yeah. New album in the works, and yeah, lots of touring.
Yes.
Somewhere close by, maybe Serbia one more time?
Absolutely. I think we plan to.
Sounds like a great deal to me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Yes,
Thank you for having us.